Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, I'm going to ask for a prayer in a different direction today. Please pray that I find my workplace environment more comforting to me as an autistic this semester. I've been running into a lot of autism kind of barriers since coming home to the United States. I did very well when I was in Taiwan. I learned that in Taiwan, kids are taught in health class in high school about autism and how to be open and how to avoid triggering an autistic. Now, funny thing is that I didn't tell anybody in Taiwan that I was autistic. They just had they create a good background environment. I don't know if it's because the Taiwanese are generally just a lot calmer people or if it's because they were trained to do that. I don't know. I've obviously never gone to high school in Taiwan, but they're taught in high school health class. I was a little bit surprised by that. Obviously, when I went to high school, there was not a whole lot of awareness. I don't know what we're taught these days. I tutored a couple of high school students, and I don't think I ever saw anything. In fact, I might have even brought it up. I didn't bring up the autism, but I brought up food allergies because I was teaching during the pandemic. They had learned in health class about how viruses spread, how far they could spread, how to wash your hands properly. Got to remember, we were taught all about that, right? And I explained to my students, I really appreciate the hand washing, not only because of the virus, but obviously there's other viruses that can spread when you don't wash your hands, but also food allergens. And the students were a little bit surprised that people needed to wash their hands in order for somebody to not react. When you shake their hand or when you touch surfaces, they were surprised by that. I got the impression that was not something that they learned in their health class. Unfortunately, I was at the student union. I had to duck into this auditorium because the sensory got the better of me, and I didn't have to do that when I was in Taiwan. I stayed in a pretty busy hostel, and people were very sensible about creating a sensory overload. Uh, Not only in terms of noises, but in terms of not too many people use fragrances out in public in Taiwan. Uh, and People were conscientious about their lighting. Right, you didn't have somebody who, in the middle of the night, had their laptop flash really bright lights. Right, that sometimes bothers me when I stay in a hotel here in America. Uh, I don't know if it's because they're generally calmer people, or if it's because they took uh, heed in their learning in school. I don't know, but these are young people, right? The locals there who stay in hostels, they're what, 20 years old maybe, and then there's people who travel, right, from other countries. I don't know what other countries learn about autism, and so I'm almost thinking, because the two people who annoyed me these last couple of days, I don't think any of them were out to get at somebody who's autistic. They don't wake up and say, "I'm going to declare war against autistic." No, they didn't. They simply didn't know they were triggering something. I'm almost thinking about putting on a name tag with "Please be patient, I am autistic," or some words to that effect that are reasonable depending on the situation. Obviously, when I come to work, maybe not, but when I go out to a grocery store or go shopping, right? I'm going to have to do some background research on how to do that today. That's going to be my assignment, given what happened the last couple of days. Yesterday, I was at a church event, and I learned that part of the reason for all this hostility could be that we've had a lot of bad weather. I just got back from Taiwan, so I didn't realize that we had a really bad season. Every season's a record-breaking season, it seems like these days, right? And a lot of people are probably still reeling from that. I didn't realize that. But our church pastor said, give it a few months. It'll get better once people have good weather. You know, So we'll see about that too in the near future. Um, but I got the feeling that I don't think either of these people were trying to start a war. They just simply it triggered the wrong circumstance, right? Uh, I hope that things get better in the United States, right? Because when people are juggling so many jobs and not having a life out there, it's very easy to take it out on somebody else, right? I got into some road rage this morning. I got the impression that the guy I got into the road rage with was already mentally overfilled with other things going on. All right. Uh, Please continue to pray for me by singing along with me, gesturing at your screen, and leaving a dislike on this video. I got a lot of hate mail from my last video. One of my viewers thinks that I'm having inappropriate relations with one of my students. I don't know if they're jealous or something, but I have good rapport with one of my students, and I want to see her succeed, and that's that, right? Um, and hopefully one day we can work together to she's also an artist, so we can paint the 21st century Mona Lisa together, right? I'm hoping to bring her back into the math department. She took an algebra class and has dropped out of math, it seems like. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.